Hey everybody, what's going on? My name is Jesse, also known as Sublime, and today we're back on the Spin and Go table, and we are playing again for 200,000. We can't seem to get out of that 200,000 hunch, and when I do get out of it, I lose to some bullshit. But regardless, we are starting off today with a Jack 4 here on the big blind. The flop comes out King 3-10. DZ ends up checking, I check it, and Seabreeze makes a bet of 20 here. And I just end up folding my cards. I got nothing on the flop, and I would have really had nothing on the turn. I mean, an ace would have gotten us a straight, but as you guys can see, another king came out on the river, so there was absolutely no straight that could have been made there, and we're glad we got out of it. There was nothing for us there. There will be nothing for us there. And we might as well let these guys punch each other out. Seabreeze ends up winning with a queen 6, and we get dealt a jack 9 here on the small blind. I just call the regular 10. I don't want to make things too suspicious, but for us, a jack 10 king comes out on the flop, so we get a pair of jacks. That's second pair on the board. Check, except for DZ. DZ ends up throwing out a bet for 50. I call it. I got second pair. And then a 5 shows up. I check. Seabreeze ends up checking. And he ends up checking. Then a queen shows up. Guys, we got a straight. We got a 9 to queen, or 9 to king straight. I bet 100. Seabreeze calls and she shows. She had the higher straight with an ace. It is what it is. I am on tilt here, as you can see. I go all in with the 10-7, and Seabreeze ends up calling me with the chips I just gave her. And she shows she has a jack 3. Flop comes out 9-10-6. Then a queen. And then another 10. We end up taking that pot home with 3 of a kind. And oh my god, there is a mosquito right now flying around my head. But we're gonna keep carrying on here. We then get a 9-3 here on the big blind. We have 610 chips to DZ's 275. He rifles out a raise of 75. I end up folding it. I can't call with a 9-3. Then we get the pocket queens, the ladies, as some like to call them, the bitches. But let's be conservative here. They are the ladies. They are fantastic cards to have. The flop comes out King 2-9. I bet 75. Seabreeze ends up folding. Same with DZ. Nobody wants to play, and I show. I had the ladies. Then we get a K2. We're not playing around with K2. We end up just throwing that away. We end up folding that. King 2 has been one of those hands where sometimes it hits. Most of the time it doesn't, and I don't want to be a part of it. I absolutely don't like playing King 2. And I'm sure a lot of you guys will feel the same way about King 2. It's just something you really don't want to play. Unless it's suited. If it's suited, it's a whole different story. But it wasn't suited, so we're not playing it. But we get a queen 10 here on the big blind. And guys, the mosquito just landed on my back. Oh my god, I can feel it. I can feel it. We get a pair of 10s here on the flop. And at second pair on the board, DZ ends up rifling out a bet for 50. Seabreeze ends up calling out as well as myself. A 9 shows up, guys. We got potentially a straight on our hands here if an 8 shows up, if a king shows up, and there's also a flush draw on the board. But another jack shows up. There's 3 diamonds on the board. He ends up raising it to 200. I'm like, you know what? The way how this guy's been betting, I don't think he has nothing, but he shows he had the flush, so he ends up beating us there. We then get an 8-2. And he ends up just calling the minimum. I call the minimum. And Seabreeze tries to fold the cards. Tries to, but ends up just checking it away. Flop comes out 3-2 king. Checks all around. Then a 6 shows up. I throw out a bet for 75. I got a pair of 2s. And everybody... Oh, no. Hold up. DZ ends up calling it. Then an ace shows up. I'm thinking, you know what, maybe I'm playing for there's so many, how I bet it, I was playing for so many cards. I end up pushing all in here, and DZ ends up just folding. There's too much on the board that was representing, and he didn't want to be a part of it. We get a queen 10 here suited on a button, and we raise it up to 80. Seabreeze ends up folding it. DZ ends up calling though. The flop comes out to queen 8. He checks. I throw it a bet for 125, and DZ ends up folding it. We had top pair on the board. Good bets, good calls. And we're moving on to the next hand here. We get an ace 6 of spades here on the big blind. DZ throws out 50. I say, you know what? I'm gonna raise it. I like suited aces cards. I raise it up to 110. So basically a 3-bet on top of his raise. What did DZ end up doing? He ends up going all in. I end up calling him. I feel confident in my cards. And the flop comes out, or he shows he has queen queen. The flop comes out 4 ace 4. We're beating him right now. We have the pair of aces. A 2 shows up, and the only card that'll beat us is a queen, but that doesn't show up. A 5 shows out on the river, and we end up taking that pot home. And DZ ended up leaving the table like really fast. Like he was just out of there. Gonzo, see ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. We get a queen 6 here on the small blind. The flop comes out 10 3 6. We got a pair of 6s, which is nice. I end up checking. Seabreeze ends up checking. Then a 4 shows up, so I end up throwing out a bet here for 40. And Seabreeze wants no smoke. She ends up folding the cards away. And we get to take that pot home. We then get a king queen here on the big blind. I end up just checking it. Don't want to be too suspicious. The flop comes out 10 5 jack. I check. She checks. A 4 comes out on the turn. Both checks, and then another 4 shows up. I check. She checks. I win with high card. I knew if I were to bet, she was to fold. So why not? Let's see the whole board. A 4-10 we get here on the small blind. Flop comes out ace 8 8. Then a queen. And it's just a checking spree back and forth. We hit our 10 on the river. And that's enough to take home the blinds. Then get a pocket pair of 5s here. And I see she only has about 60 chips left. 90 chips, whatever, 60, 90. So I pushed her all in with pocket 5s. Fairly decent hand. She has 210. Flop comes out 3, jack 10. We're losing here. Only a 5 could win it for us. I'm pointing. Give me a 5. No 5 shows up. And we end up losing that. But guys, we're well ahead. We can easily come back from we can easily win from this situation. I think it's not out of question that we will win out of this position. But we get a 6 king here on a small blind. Both diamonds. 9-7 jack ends up showing with 2 diamonds on the board. So I raise it up to 50 here. I get a flush draw. That's too much for Seabreeze. She ends up folding it. And we get to take home the blinds yet again. And then get a 10-5 on the big blind. She calls. I check. Flop comes out king 8-10. We got a pair of 10s. We both check. A 6 shows up. I throw it a bet for a small amount of 50 here. She calls it. Then a 9 shows up. I check. Seabreeze goes all in. I call it. And guys, she sucked out on us. She had a 7. She hit a 9 on the river. So lucky. She ended up hitting it straight on the river. And she beat us there. We had her beat all the way until that last card. We didn't get the exact same hand she just had. But luckily for us, we get a 3 of a kind instead of a straight on the flop. I end up throwing out a bet for 50 here. I check on the first just to make it look like I'm not really playing with anything smart. I showed her, hey, I flopped the nuts. She's like, good shit, good shit. We then get an ace jack. We both check it out. Flop comes out ace 6. Then a 5. I throw out a bet for 75. You guys see how I keep checking after the flop? Especially after she checks. It makes them think that you don't have something good that's on the flop. But in reality, we have top pair. And she ends up betting 80. I call it. And I win with ace jack. She shows she had ace 9. And then we get jack 3. So we're essentially heads up because she doesn't have enough to cover it. Flop comes out king 9-4. Then an ace. Only a 7 or a 6 could beat us here. And the 6 shows up. We end up getting beat on the river yet again. For like the 3rd or 4th time. in this game. And then we get the exact same hand. Yet again, we're heads up again. Flop comes out this time, 7-5-3. So she's still beating us. The only thing that we can get is a jack here to win. And a jack shows up, and we win. I want to say thank you guys for coming out, watching this video, being a subscriber, liking the video, all that stuff. You guys are truly some of the best fans on YouTube, and I can't think of anything more fun than making videos for you guys. And yeah, I just want to thank you guys all for the tremendous support. I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully you guys all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye now.